Today we're diving into a question that I think really gets to the heart of our lives. How do we build a home that's truly blessed and happy? We've explored a source that claims to have a simple but really profound secret to do just that. Just think about it for a second. Have you ever looked around your own home and felt like that feeling of peace has just kind of faded away?
Or maybe that the love between your family members, which you know should be so strong, now feels a little distant?
And what about all those little simple joys? Where did they go? If any of that sounds familiar, you are not alone. And the source we're looking at today believes it's found the reason why, and even better, a way to bring all of it back.
Okay, so let's start by figuring out the problem, which the source says many of us are feeling, even if we can't quite find the right words for it.
See if any of this rings a bell. The source points to these signs: getting angry over really small things, building up these walls of ego, constant complaints, seeing that worry on your parents' faces, or that restless feeling in your kids' hearts. These aren't huge dramatic things. They're the quiet little symptoms of a home that's just becoming disconnected. And this slide, it captures that paradox perfectly. We can be living in the exact same house, under one roof, but our hearts can feel like they're miles and miles apart. It's a strange kind of loneliness, the kind that can happen even when you're surrounded by people.
This leads to a really big mistake in how we look for peace. The source suggests we're often looking in all the wrong places, for bigger houses, newer cars, just more stuff. We're trying to buy an internal feeling with external things. And well, it almost never works.
But what if the answer isn't out there somewhere? What if it's much, much closer and way simpler than we've been led to believe? According to our source, there is a secret that can change everything. So what is this secret? It's not complicated. It doesn't cost a thing. The source puts it just like this: transform your smallest moments into prayers. The real power, the source says, isn't in big, grand gestures or expensive things. No, it's in turning the most ordinary, everyday parts of your life into something sacred. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Turning moments into prayers sounds a little abstract. So let's get really practical. How do you actually do that? Well, the source breaks it down into a really simple practice. It's a really simple 3-step process you do in your mind. First, you just observe. You really notice what's happening right in front of you. Second, you connect. You take just a split second to turn inward, to connect with that divine spark in your heart. And then third, you make a small silent prayer or a good intention that fits that exact moment. So here's what that looks like in a good moment. Let's say you see your wife smiling. It's a beautiful but quick little moment. Instead of just letting it pass by, you observe it and you silently make an intention. Oh God, let this smile last forever. You're not just watching it happen. You become an active part of protecting that goodness. And this is where it gets really, really powerful, because it's not just for the good times. Imagine your wife is upset. Now, the normal reaction might be to get defensive or angry back, right? Instead, you observe that difficult moment and you pray. Oh God, please erase the bitterness, increase the love between us. You're literally transforming a point of conflict into a chance for healing. Or how about this? You see your father laughing, just genuinely happy. Instead of letting that amazing sound just fade away, you catch it with a little prayer, asking for his joy to be protected. In that 1 second, you become a guardian of his happiness. This works for even the quietest, most subtle moments. Maybe your mother is just quietly watching you. Even that simple glance can be turned into something more with a prayer that her gaze is a source of blessing for you. It turns a totally normal moment into something incredibly profound. So right about now, you might be wondering, okay, but what can these tiny, silent prayers actually do? And that's a totally fair question. According to the source, the impact of these small acts is way bigger than we can imagine. The power of this whole practice, it just starts with one. The idea from the source is that a single heartfelt prayer made in one of these little moments has the potential to create real, actual change. It's all about connecting our small earthly moments to a much bigger picture. And doing this creates this amazing ripple effect. The source claims that blessings start to pour into the home. Hearts begin to soften up. All that ego and anger, it starts to just dissolve.
And in that new space, love can finally flow freely again. You're basically changing the whole atmosphere of your home from the inside out.
And that brings us to the biggest takeaway here. Peace isn't something you go out and find, like some lost treasure. It's something you actively create, moment by moment, right where you are.
And it's so important to remember where that change starts. It doesn't begin by waiting for your partner or your parents or your kids to be different. Nope, it starts with you. The peace begins in your own heart, and it radiates outward from there, touching every part of your home. So consider this an invitation, a call to action. Make a real commitment, starting right now, with the very next moment you have. Decide to turn every single expression you see, every smile, every frown, every quiet look, into a silent, heartfelt intention. And why start now? Because you really, truly never know. Maybe this very moment is the most powerful, most potent, most accepted moment of your entire life. You don't want to let it just slip by.
And we'll end with the call to action from the source itself. If this idea connected with you, think about sharing it. Let this chain of prayer and intention reach thousands of other homes, creating ripples of peace everywhere. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.